Okay, yay, we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Yay. I know, very exciting. Oops. Sorry, I'm like trying to. All right. Oh,
We
all
are
right, we're good.
everywhere now.
Yes, exactly. And I left the thing, my tablet up there. But either way, like I said, it's one of those days.
Yeah, jumping back and forth, always busy behind the scenes. So yeah, to
Yes.
give you an update, we are still working very hard to have as soon as possible our new Petit Lenormand content. I'm working behind the scenes, and I promised previous Tuesday to give some extra information on the card to Lily, because I was talking things through, and in my experience, the Lily and the Petit Lenormand is one of the top three cards people don't really grasp what to do with that. So, but that's actually a real paradox because the Lily is one of the cards that is somehow best described in the old method of distance because in the end we just have one pamphlet, one set of rules of the game on how to read the oracle. Sorry. So, but it's just like a really small explanation by each card according to the distance with the sitter or the card representing the sitter. Um, so that will depend what meaning it has in the end. And then there's also this card, the chaos bringer, the clouds, and he can always yeah, bring some chaos to the situation.
Hmm.
But these are really small explanations where you somehow get a grip on how it works. But then you have like the lily, and the lily has a very strange positional meaning as well.
Hmm.
In that regard, so the other cards are all have to do, okay, how close or how far are they from the significator card? So the cards are dealt for. But then there is this lily. It is also to do with the distance. So if there is a good card, the overall rule is the closer it is to the sitter, the better, and the further away it is. If there's a bad card, also for the better. So you rather have a lot of good cards inside of your comfort zone and all the bad cards outside of that, ideally. But then there is like the lily, and besides the positional meanings in regards of distance, and then also like a meaning if it's on top or under the significator card.
Hmm.
But these are just a small explanation from the method of distance. So if the ultimate bad position of the lily, if it's this lily is right under a significator card, so there are originally two significator cards, and if this card was right under one of them, it alludes to bad morals, that someone is doing something that is not really virtuous. Does this mean that this person is like really a bad person? No, not per se. Everyone does now once in a while something he or she should not have been done, whilst at the same time they do a lot of good things, the flesh is weak. So, but there's also how you can read that. But especially the position under or on top of the significator
Hmm.
has somehow the rewarding a that has something rewarding, and the overall idea, because the lily is about virtue, but the overall idea is in a bigger, broader spiritual idea of the providence,
Hmm.
and the providence is like a Christian idea, where you somehow by acting virtuous are rewarded by the providence for a good life. But
Hmm.
that's not solely Christian. The Germans have the same, and even it's the Eastern idea of karma is also something like that. So you can somehow earn good fortune for your family or your tribe by acting virtuous. So that's like an overall idea. So, but when this card is dealt on the significator card, that's not a good sign. So this always will say, okay, this person has some morals who are not okay, and that will
Yeah.
punish him or her. So it's like rewarding, punishing, and an overall idea of providence. And here you have to reason. Okay, if this lily is dealt in the grand tableau above your head, this is rewarding because this is a sign that you act in a virtuous way. And then you are rewarded. So the
Mhm.
ultimate good position of the lily is right on top of your head so that you receive everything from providence and it will be rewarding. But if it's not right on your top or not right under your feet, the ultimate bad position, talking about the person, maybe it's like under the significator card, but far away under. Then you have to see under which card it is dealt.
Mhm.
And then you can see, okay, but somewhere on top of this lily card, under the significator card, there is some wrongdoing from the significator.
Yeah.
So you have to
Yeah.
understand this in an overall spiritual idea.
Mhm.
And there are more cards that have to do with that. That is what I used to call the cluster of providence. So, and this works together with the child, um, the lily, because the child is also an idea that comes from that and that goes alongside that somehow shows that are a good person, that you are full of goodness, so that you act virtuous.
Yeah.
So, and this is also something, a forecaster of your overall fortune.
Yeah.
And that's why the lily stands for virtue, but it goes deeper than that in an overall European cultural understanding because everyone knows the French emblem of the monarchy, the fleur de lis. So,
Yes.
yeah, so the sword lily, so to say. But this is something really traditional because it's all about the monarchy here, but it's also a legit symbol that you somehow can rule um, in a legitimate way descended from God. So the king is somehow the Pontifex Maximus. He is like the messenger between the gods and the people.
Yeah.
So he is like always when the old kings take the crown, the throne. They have like also like a ritual where they somehow be ruler of the three worlds. That's
Oh
also
yeah.
really an European initiation.
Yeah.
But in archaic symbolism, there is this um, idea of sympathetic links. And there you have like the sword lily, the fleur de lis. So it's like, I think, iris.
Yeah.
And you have like the ordinary reed. So the reed, and these are all plants near the water that cut. You
Mhm.
see, and
Yeah.
you have also like initiation, so everything to do in archaic view with the water. So everything under the water is the underworld, and everything growing from the underworld, you see, has some
Yes.
really special thing. So these were back in the days with Germanic initiation rite to Woden. These were the uh, means for initiation to cut, because Woden was also hanging from the tree, and they would cut with the reed because the reed is like a cutter. You see, it's
Yeah.
like a means for initiation.
Yeah.
And there is also where it comes from that the fleur de lis is somehow the idea of the symbol of the monarch of the monarchy, and this is also for virtue. And you also see that in chivalry because you have like the initiation rituals with the chevalier, the knights. So, and then they take you with a sword and they hit your head or both shoulders or some
Hmm.
other ideas. But the archaic uh, how you call it? It's like a collet, as it's called in French. A collet is your neck, and it's like a hit in the neck, and your patron in the chivalry they can make you a slap in the neck, so like this, say with empty hand, and this is what somehow to say. With that they said, okay, sois preux, and sois preux wants to say, okay, be a man or be of virtue.
Oh,
You see, and that was also with those intronization of the king
yeah,
and all the chevaliers done together. And sois preux, someone alludes, okay, be virtuous.
yeah,
So, and that's also why this is such a loaded symbol overall. And that's also with white because that's the upper color and the
yeah.
color of virtue.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, a whole explanation, I know that, but
No, it's
it is very
fascinating.
logical that it has this. But that's what I'm writing in my new work in the Petit Lenormand. Sometimes they are so logical in regards of overall symbolism in
Hmm.
a Indo-European context,
Yeah,
but after that, that's bang out of order and the total opposite.
yeah,
See, that's something strange, but that's also something where I talk about. Because, but that the lily stands for virtue, that's not a strange idea, never. No.
yeah. No, that yeah. No, that's the meaning most people like. Yeah, go straight for.
Yeah, and also
Besides that.
it's also connected with the color white, for instance, but also that's also logical. That's why
Hmm.
a wedding dress and ceremonial things often are done with white gloves, to yeah, to see to show that you are virtuous, that you are clean, that you are white, trustable, everything what's good in that regard.
Yeah,
But in the color white, there's also the idea of unification because white
yeah.
is the culmination of all colors.
Hmm.
And that's also the old mystical idea that we have to somehow, by initiation, go back to unification from the sacred place, from the oneness where we fell apart from.
Mm.
So in many ways, it's white is the color of unification, of virtue, of uh, coming back home to the sacred. So it totally reasons on every level that you can imagine. So I hope
Oh,
that this brings some broader understanding uh, to the card. And it's you have to see this in the overall idea of the providence.
yeah.
And you can think whatever you want, so you don't have to be a Christian, of course, to read particular Mark cards or whatever. You can do whatever you want with it from whatever cultural background you use it.
Hmm.
But I think we can give this more value to understand it within a Christian context,
Yeah.
to
Yes.
understand it, and from there on translate it to whatever your context is. But this
Yes. Yeah.
way, it's strange that people say, yeah, I don't grasp this card, but this is the ultimate card with the most explanation in it.
Yeah.
And I will translate and comment on the original uh, pamphlet. And then you can see, because there is also a reading inside of that to give an example on how to read the cards. And
Yeah.
this is also something really interesting. But it also proves that it's like bang out of order because things they showed in their instructions, they do not do it in the reading. But
Ah,
I walk you guys through that, and I give my takes on that, whatever what that's worth. But
that's
you
good.
can, uh, for me, it gave a much deeper understanding of the particular mark cards by understanding what they said there in the reading.
Yeah.
And there's something interesting, and I lift the peak of the veil in that regard. And also maybe if you like read your Petit Lenormand cards the next weeks, in the example reading, there is this example, and I think if I can have it in my mind that yeah, that the lily is above the significator card. So
Yeah.
there is a rewarding, but it's not right on top of the significator, but somewhere, I think, to the right or to the left, I don't know. But so there is a reward because this person is virtuous, but it's not on top of the head. So the virtue or the rewarding will be on the card dealt under it. And there is like the rider. So and
Uh,
there they say, okay, someone speaks in behalf of you. So that's something
uh,
interesting.
yes, I like that.
Okay, so that's the virtue, and someone, so because you are virtuous, and
Yeah.
by accident, this card of the child was also there, so someone is of good nature, of good morals, and it somehow got got up by the
Yeah.
powers that be, and you are rewarded. That's the
Yes.
idea. And the reward is that someone speaks good of you. And that's an
Ah,
interesting, often overlooked idea.
yeah.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Uh, I like that. That is really good too. Yeah.
So I hope this opens up. Sometimes it falls that way that you somehow take it along as a possible explanation of what this combinations and that regard would say.
Yeah. No, I think so because it definitely makes you think about the reading more if you have that background, if you have that context, you know, especially
Yeah.
with yeah, the virtue in white. And I was thinking
If
like white, oh, go ahead.
no, 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 sorry, sorry.
No,
What were you saying?
no, I was thinking, the white flag, surrender, like peace talks,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
white. Anyway,
The unification, yeah.
yes, yeah.
But if you read that in depth, and we will talk about this in depth, that was also the idea to really dive into the folklore, but also to dive really into. We don't have that much text. Uh,
Hmm.
it's not much, but that we at least take each word under the lens and dust it off and see and measure. That it's not much, but there is so much richesse as you read it, because the
Hmm.
overall context is that also of causal effects.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's the card, one of those cards of the cluster of providence, and in the previous books, I see that as the cluster of the lily. Of course, it determines the reward, but also the child. Uh, I see that now somehow as that what triggers the reward because that's your active goodness. And then there's also the flower, the other, the number nine. See where
Yeah.
that is dealt, and that's the overall luck count.
Yes.
The the closer it falls to you, the better you can send the positive energy. The
Hmm.
further you cannot really have much benefit from that. But then you have to see at the card that's dealt right under it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yes. Because yeah. I always liked using that in the method of distance because it's more clear cut on
Yeah,
exactly if it's like not good or virtuous, being naughty or nice.
yeah. So there is a really moralizing context in that, and that's also, something typical enlightenment.
Hmm.
Really moralizing, still religious, but really moralizing, moralizing, moralizing. And
Yeah.
that's also something I will point out. I really do. I really like the spiritual context of that era. But you also
Hmm.
have to see it through that. Yeah, you don't have to do anything. But I think if you want to bring something creative, something where you really can step back in the days and watch from that era and try to implement it in a nowadays context. That's where I find is the task. At least that's the product I want to live on.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Because even like you're saying, looking back, and it was very from a time when everyone was religious, they came from a place of like religion,
Yeah,
it still shapes the reading. It still has it make sense versus nowadays, half of what we do is from that. Half of what we do is from a that religious standpoint, whether you're believing in it or not.
yeah, yeah. And you know, the nice thing is, so when you will read my new work, you will also much more understand the meaning of the cross or how you can use the cross. But you don't have to be a Christian to use it that way because
Yes.
these are concepts, they were already existing. They were like pagan ideas on morality and all that. So they are not like Christian. They got a Christian curse and curse. Yeah, no, no, not curse. What's the upper layer? Crust. Sorry,
Oh,
not
oh.
a curse, a crust.
I was
So
like,
they received a Christian crust on top of already existing pagan ideas.
nice. Yeah. Well, ask some people and they'll be like, yes, it's a curse. Took it from paganism, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know, I would call myself a pagan, but being a pagan, that does not want to say that they are always so virtuous because they also hunted down the first Christians and all that. So before
Yeah.
we point fingers to each other, please make sure
Yeah.
that you are clean, that you have like white gloves.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Back to the white gloves. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're circling back. Yeah, that's true. Everyone has like their, sordid history, but it's definitely what shaped whatever path you follow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you also have to admit that, and see that for what it is. And yeah,
Yeah. No, it's true. 'Cause especially like the Romans, they had this most sordid of histories. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
they have,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But
I
it,
like
it
that.
gives some extra insight, and
Yes.
maybe it does not seem much, but also I give the ideas in the book on how to construct a story because you can see, for instance, the child. This is, yeah, of course, the later on logical extensions of that. That is like a child, a new beginning, which I also use, but that's easy. But the idea is that you're full of goodness and that you therefore are in a good company. That's the
Mm-hmm.
core meaning. That's a strange meaning, but that's the meaning. But you have to see that in the oracle. But
Yes.
then you
Yeah.
could see, okay, maybe you have like a story. Oh, I see here the moon is far. And the moon is so far from you that it cannot shine with its praise and its applause.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, what's happening? And then you can maybe see that the child is far away, and that maybe the
Yeah.
lily is like under the person. But then you can
Oh.
maybe reason, okay, yeah, but maybe you don't act in a good way for the overall goal, something like that, and see, okay, because the lily is here, dealt under your feet somewhere. It's far away, so it will not be like a big cry or something, but let's see what's happening here. Okay, the
Yeah.
lily is pushing like a dog, and this dog is far away. But this friendship, this dog is maybe too far away because you don't treat this dog right. And
Oh.
then you
Yeah.
have like a story, you see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I just touched three cards and I somehow try to reason how the oracle, why is it that they dealt it in such a
Mm-hmm.
way. So I have to somehow, yeah, try to
Yeah.
yeah, give a solution to the escape room somehow.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But
And it's yeah.
that's really interesting because if you want to touch on such things, yeah, you can give so much information.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just in three cards. I feel like
Yeah,
that's where people miss out a lot when they don't go into more detail between like those relationships and how they are.
Yeah, and
especially.
you can also give some more counseling in that regard, and then you can say, okay, but I don't know, but here the lily is under your feet, so that does somehow show me that you act in not a constructive, virtuous way, whatever happens. And I see, okay, the garden is far away, but the dog is far away. Yeah, maybe you have to reconsider your what you are doing. You
Yes, yeah.
or if it's about someone else, could also be the
Uh,
case. Ah,
that's true.
but how you can make a story with that and very, very simple.
Yeah.
But reading distance is something else like modern cartomancy.
Yes. Yes. Seeing how the cards play. I like that. I've
Yeah,
always
and
like,
because you have like positional meanings, and then you have to somehow, yeah, construct them together.
hmm
Besides of reasoning in just a position, the 1 plus 2 plus 3, which is great, but you can do so much more. And
oh
that's
my
why
gosh.
you, yeah, should be alert on a new materials.
Yes. Yeah. That, yeah, because that'll be really fascinating. Yeah, when you said the new things, because there's just so much you can do that most people overlook. Seeing it,
Yeah,
if people are naughty and in which area.
yeah. So we go totally back to the most ultimate regression in reading method of distance, the ultimate tradition. But besides that, I will give ultra progressive ideas on that.
Yeah. And I no, because I actually love that because I feel like especially with reading or even teaching, a lot of people like they know the basics, they know what they do, and they're like running ahead without seeing if somebody else knew the basics or knew the core meanings or where we started.
Mhm.
So it's like you kind of have to go back to the beginning to keep moving to kind of remind yourself of what it was and then moved
Yeah,
into the modern things, to remind yourself. Because I've
yeah,
seen that too, even within stories. I was telling somebody about, I can't remember, it was like a folklore about something, and they're like, oh, I forgot about that. Because you're running ahead so fast trying to learn everything new, you forget the beginnings of where things started?
yeah. Yeah, that and simplify it. And I think here is our task, Morgan, to simplify it and somehow, and whilst we are speaking, whilst we are thinking, I think this is what my goal is now to give people a way of reading these cards in a more storytelling way so that you can get much more impact with your sitter and that you can
Yes.
take them along in the story.
Yes.
And the way of reading, like Morgan said, okay, like it's like a white flag, you said, white flag, something like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. The way.
Then I was thinking, okay, white flags, but we have several white flags if they are dealt right. So the cards of the cluster of providence, what I was saying, the two flowers and the child. But then you also could say, and I find it here on the spot, where are the red flags? Where's the fox? Where is the snake?
Yes. Yes.
You see, that's yeah. And these are really things that make impact. They always say this, but you should not underestimate it. If someone is sitting there and you take them along in the story and you say, okay, here's the snake and here's the fox. These are two really different persons,
Oh, yes.
but they are both of really self-interest, but in several ways. And I will explain this in depth and all those figures like the mountain and how you can somehow throw this together also in a more counseling way or in a more um, yeah, constructive way. But
Yes.
it's interesting that they somehow can jump in the character. And
Yes.
there is our task to explain this better, uh, easier, in a way that you somehow become much more like a storyteller, but also work with the cards at hand that he somewhere use everything that you have to make impact.
hmm Oh my gosh, yes. Especially the fox. Like I always see it as not ever being like, that shifty card.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
with the lily. I
Yeah,
had,
but
Uh,
It's different negative influences.
yes, no. Yeah, no, it's true. I remember like two readings I had where the fox and the lily were like prominent, and of course it happened, with the forewarning of what was about to happen. So like forewarned, and so they knew what to do, and it still blew up, in the face.
Yeah,
Well, not with one because she actually listened, but but the fox is always like shifty. It was with a contractor. I can't remember the extent of the reading, but in the reading, those two cards came up that the contractor was going to try and take money from you before he ghosted you. And that is exactly what happened.
yeah. Yeah, and the Fox and Lily, the thing I right away think about is virtue signaling.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Where it's like, really, yeah.
Those are, in my experience, most of the time, not the people who are really virtuous.
No, no, they're going to like swindle you. So, like, yeah, depending on the
Yeah,
cards, the cards that come in.
yeah. So don't be a
It's,
Lily Fox, be a fox with pride.
yes, yes, exactly. Exactly.
And that's clear for everyone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but you see how these stories come about, because if this was the case, if I had to read my cards for myself, this was one of the options, then I would immediately also want to know where is the book, because the
Oh,
book has always like the influence of hidden content,
yes.
and if I have somehow like a fox and a lily besides that, but then I have to see, okay, but where is the lily? Where is the lily? Is it on top of my head or under my head? Is it something I did wrong and it's somehow some kind of karma that someone is taking?
Yeah.
That these are really life situations. But then I want to
Yeah.
know, okay, where is the book? Where is the book? Because the book
Yeah.
is always about secrecy and hidden content.
Hmm.
Because if
Yeah.
this book um, then also is with me with a
Yeah.
constellation of bad cards, I really have to, yeah, guard myself, I think.
Hmm. Yes, exactly. Then
Yeah,
somebody's like out to get you.
yeah, and whilst the book, and then you often have like a situation and you talk about that, and then you have, oh my God, is it this best friend of me? And then they somehow have like an explanation. And then I would also see if the book, okay, but if the book is far away, you have more reason to have it right because you foresee the hidden content. But if it's like the book is there, you could reason, okay, but the book is still there, you might be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, that's how I reason in those cards. And it's like really easy. You just need a book, and I see that as an energy. There's an energy of not knowing stuff. And that can either be good or bad, depending on the other
Yes.
cards in your
Yeah.
vicinity. So
No, it's
you cannot know everything, and maybe some people are doing stuff outside of your knowing that, but in a good way. Maybe they are organizing a surprise party or whatever, or a trip for you.
yeah, that's yeah, wishful thinking, right? That's a party.
Anyway, you see, but it's like just storytelling with cards. And
Yeah.
whenever you got a grip on that in a really playful way, the way that we teach, that we go about, then you will be able to get during a reading, if you read for yourself or you read for someone else, maybe professional, maybe like as a hobby, whatever, but you can then make the best possible use of that, and that's
Hmm.
where we aim for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that. The yeah. But going back to beginning with that. I always, yeah, when I read the cards for myself, I always go straight to worst case scenario. That's why I don't read for myself too often.
Yeah,
There's always,
yeah,
but
that's.
it's, oh,
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but that's why, like, yeah, I like reading for other people. It's more open-minded, because you're not like, the stake in that. So you're gonna see those good attributes you're talking to, or that open mind of what the possibility is. And for myself, I'm
Yeah,
like, snake, fox, death. No.
yeah, yeah. But there is also merit in that. That's what I always say. We can take so much more from it. If people somehow remind certain images, how this somehow substantiates the story, if you understand what I mean, what you somehow give you direction or some anchor points or something to think about.
Yeah,
Even if it's like a an image of something that's not good for you or misfortunate for you, but then it has like a face or a conceptual idea so you can grasp it.
yeah,
No, and that's not a solution yet, but that's something where you somehow measure it up and see how you can take that forward.
yeah. No, I get that. I like that. I'm just thinking of the cards in that context. I'm a
Yeah,
visual learner. I have to see the cards and then, like, lay them out.
yeah, but that's something when we start with the courses and all that. Yeah, we will be very playful, as have some great ideas to work with that.
Hmm.
To give people the trust to tell their story and to yeah, dare to create
Yes.
something authentic. You don't have to be very well versed in rhetorics. Yeah, it will come in handy if you can do good explanation, but there has nothing to do with impact. Impact is
No.
with atmosphere. Impact has to do with connection and
Oh,
authenticity.
yes. No, definitely. And I think, yeah, that's why it's hard. Like we were saying, to have that safe atmosphere for people to like be able to publish like their readings and stuff. Because I feel like a lot of people don't because they feel like they have to be correct. But what is correct with the cards? You know what I mean? It's literally what you see. But
Yeah.
I but I remember first starting like a long time ago, and it was this group. It was long. I can't remember what group it was. It was so long ago. But there was this one woman who was like hostile when she was like answering questions, and it's like you just felt, I don't know. So that's why not to be just to lay the cards out, you know what I mean, and not to feel like you have to be
Yeah.
wrong. Just literally, like you said, playing with it, like looking around with the cards, seeing what you see, especially being open to the meanings and the
Yeah.
contents.
How can you be fluent with something if you are afraid of it?
Yes, that's correct. Exactly. Or
So you have
yes.
to step over those boundaries, or somehow we prepare you to give about zero fucks.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, but
exactly.
in the end, that's what it all comes down to.
Oh yeah, exactly. Just being able to put it out there
Yeah, you,
because
you can
that's
also you can only be intrinsic good, and but you also have to be able to free yourself of all those worrying voices and all that, because people, they come for the information, what's
true.
coming out of that. And they
Hmm.
have also some philosophical ideas, and that will not always be right, but there is more to it than that. But
Yeah,
we will also talk about that and give you takes, ideas, experiences, um, where it will be much easier for you to try and to develop your own style and just read authentically.
yeah, exactly.
And besides that, it's like an overall voyage. I think you get to learn those cards. You have like a relationship with three cards: yourself, the voice in your head.
Yes,
Yeah,
I like that. Yes,
It's personal development,
Very much
but
so. Yes.
yeah, but you have to be patient. You have to be
Hmm.
patient. People nowadays, they like everything fast, order today, tomorrow in your mailbox, that's crazy. That's not how it goes with real deep knowledge. That's not how it goes with personal growth. People
No.
totally overestimate what they can do in a few weeks. They totally overestimate. And I'm sorry, people. I come from a sports world. You overestimate it. People think, okay, I go 20 times to the fitness and then I'm all jacked up like the
That's
Hulk or He-Man or whoever. That's not the case. But if you
oh
go in a consistent way, consequent, two, three, four times a week, and you do this for like 6 months, and then you look back. 6 months is half a year, but then you really see results.
yes.
But most people give up between 3, 4 weeks if they reach that end that time. You just have
Oh
to put through, and
no.
then you take those horse. But that's also personal development.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That is so that's yeah, that's so true because you do. It's like it's working. And even with jumping in like having to start at the beginning, people want to race ahead. So that's why again, going back to these beginnings because what did you miss before if you did race ahead? People want those instant results, so they're going to give up because it's working. It's always working, but it's just going back to it. Going back to the
Mhm.
beginning and seeing it. And that's sometimes like the most fun times. Trying to think of like funnest isn't a word, but the most fun times because like you get to sit with it, you get to explore and then have that foundation instead of running ahead and not reading the cards as accurately as you want or knowing the cards as accurately as you want. And that yeah, definitely goes for everything, especially like working out or weight loss things. People are like, I didn't lose 100 pounds in like a week, so something's wrong. So then they stop doing it altogether and just going back to eating how they eat. Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's and there's something to be said about that too, because we moved a lot so I always struggled with math because when I would move to a new school, they were like 10 lessons ahead. So I was always behind. So when I hit college,
Yeah,
I started at the beginning. Addition, one plus one. You know what I mean? Started at the very basic. But that's why I like
yeah,
that, going back to the basics, because sometimes you need that to really make whatever you're doing stronger?
yeah, yeah. And you don't put in the meters until you really grasp it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
be patient. You don't have to run once you just can walk, but walk consistently.
Yes.
And if you
Yeah, but
really grasp it, you will drive past those sprinters because
yes.
they they might sprint, but then they come at a destination where they have too much weight in order to be able to implement it because their experience have to catch up, and that's normal. That's almost those times that you want to give up. That you think, okay, this is not something for me. I was okay. I thought I grasped it, but now I'm somehow astray.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. That's why never like putting yourself up against somebody else because they might just be racing to the front because they feel like they have to be an expert in a week.
It's
Taking your
the
time.
hero's journey.
Yes.
Anyway, and
I
if
love
you
that.
want to
Yes.
go with us on the hero's journey, follow us. Make sure that you are here with the lives. If you have like questions, if you want me to talk about certain subjects or Morgan in regards to Petit Lenormand, you see, once I am talking, I say too much, and I want to keep my content secret because I want to make some real impact. But yeah, if you want to make sure that you know a lot of things beforehand, yeah, make sure you're here, ask your questions. See you on Tuesday.
Yes.